Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Color with Donna. Today I wanted to take a look at our markers and kind of compare them side by side. I've had a lot of people ask me what my preference is as far as brands of markers, which would be the best for them to buy. And there's really not a good answer to that question because every marker has its pros, every marker has its cons. And so what I've done is I've just grabbed one of each of the brands of marker that I have. Most of these are budget friendly, minus two of them, maybe three. But we're going to take a look at these and talk about them for just a minute. You might want to grab just a piece of notebook paper and a pen, something to write with, if you want to kind of follow along, if you're thinking about markers for a future purchase. So you'll have a general idea of each marker and what I feel are the pros and the cons of each of these markers. Keep in mind that everyone is different. What I may like about a marker may not be something that you would necessarily like about a marker, but I am going to do my best to explain each of these to you and what my opinions on them are. I have a set of Touch 5s, Touch New, Caliart, Shuttle Art, Artify. I have a few Fireflies, Caliart, Bienyo's, Ohuhu. I have 5 Copic ciaos, Spectrum Noir Basics, and Chameleon. These are the markers that I personally own. What I did with these is I was going to go with pale green. I wanted to find a color that each one of these sets had. And then I remembered I couldn't use pale green because I refilled my Bienyo with the Ranger alcohol ink to test if it was refillable. So I knew that wasn't going to give me, an exact of what came in the marker. I was able to find the grass green in the Touch 5, the Touch New. The Caliart, I had to go with leaf green. There was not a grass green there. I had to go with vivid green in the Shuttle Art and the Firefly because I did not have a grass in those. I do have the grass green in the Artify, the Caliart, the Bienyo, the Ohuhu. In Copic, the closest thing I have is what is called I believe, a yellowish green. It's from the Brights set. I have grass in Spectrum Noir, and then I have grass green in Chameleon. So, and the reason I wanted to do this, and, the ones that aren't grass green, you're not going to be able to really, take those necessarily into account. But I just wanted to explain to you guys that, say, if I bought a pack of Caliarts and I bought a pack of Ohuhus, even though they are both grass greens, the colors may be different. So when you buy the two sets, generally the inks do not match perfect. Therefore, you're really getting more than, just two individual sets with the same colors in both sets. So you kind of have to keep that in mind when you're looking at the markers also. I do have beside me my swatches of each of the complete sets. I didn't want to pull out the entire set of each one of these for obvious reasons. I would have had a huge mess here around my desk and everything. So I just pulled one of each. Okay, so let's try to jump right in. First, let's go ahead and start with the marker that I personally like the least. Again, this is only my opinion, and I will explain to you why, and we will go from there. How about that? We're going to zoom in just a little here. Okay, this is the Touch 5 marker. Touch 5s come in several different sizes of sets, the largest being a 168 set of markers. In the 168 set, you have a large range. Maybe we need to go back out. You have a large range of colors. This is my swatch. Thank you, Jennifer Stay, for giving us these downloads for swatch. You can find her at coloringpagesbliss.com on Facebook and also here on YouTube. Great things that she has to offer. But these are the Touch 5s, and then I flip it over, and this was the other Touch 5s. Now, the Touch 5 sets, this is not all of them. Touch 5 sets come with, I believe, 6 fluorescent markers. They're horrible. If you get the set, toss them in the trash can immediately. When you think fluorescent, you think highlighter. When you put the Touch 5 fluorescence onto paper, it does not look good. It does not go on like a highlighter. It is not an alcohol marker. It is not a highlighter. I don't know what it is, but it is horrible. So just immediately throw those away. They're not worth your time. That being said, there is a great color range. You have several, yellows and oranges, several reds, lots of pinks. You have some purples, and it seems like every set is kind of lacking when it comes to purples, in my opinion. You have several blues, your blue-greens. You have several regular greens, then you have your browns, your grays, and then your black. So there's a lot of different colors to choose from. In the Touch News, the Touch 5s, excuse me, they come and they look like this. I do believe these are still available. This feels like a very cheap plastic in your hand. It feels very lightweight. The lids on this one is actually fairly good, but on a lot of them, hear the snap. The problem I have with a lot of the Touch 5s, let's check this in. Okay, that one actually snaps pretty good. A lot of these lids are loose. It's like you can just kind of do this and the lids will pop off. That's why I believe in the reviews you see so many people talking about getting dead markers, dead on arrivals. And I believe it's because they dry out. They're not very, in my opinion, they're not very well made. And that's a problem. You have a broad or chisel nib on the marker. And then you have a bullet nib. The one thing I have noticed is some of the bullet nibs are softer than others in the Touch 5s. Some will be nice and firm. Some will be very soft. And they seem to soften up as you use them rather quickly, honestly. So I don't believe the nib quality is wonderful in these. But they do hold up long enough to get use out of most of the markers. Expect to have some dead on arrivals. I would suggest emailing the companies immediately about those. Sometimes they'll be able to ship you replacements from the slow boat from China, and sometimes they'll just offer you a discount, a discounted refund, not a full maybe, but maybe a 10%, 20% refund for the dead markers. So these are the Touch 5s. Let me see. And like I said, I've tried to do grass greens with these is what I've kind of tried to go with. I'm just going to write Touch 5 right here. And then I will do the broad nib. Oh, I need to put something under here before I end up messing up my desk. Give me a second. Let me find something. Let's just grab the back of the Jade Summer book. That will work. And we'll do the bullet nib. Okay, so those are the Touch 5s. And this is the grass green. All right, now they updated the Touch 5s and made the Touch News. I purchased this set to just test them out and see what my opinions on them would be, since they were supposed to be an improved product. This is the swatches for the Touch News. Okay. Again, you have blues, greens, browns, yellows, reds, pinks, very few purples, as was in, excuse me for shaking that, as was in the other set. But overall, you have a lot of colors to choose from, 168 markers, minus those nasty, horrible, horrible, horrible fluorescents. Just trust me, throw them away. If you want fluorescents, buy you a set of highlighters and add to it. You'll just be better off that way. But, okay, so these are the swatches for the Touch News. All right, now, the Touch News, I believe that they feel a little better. And to be honest, this is my empty Copic sketch marker that I keep my odorless mineral spirits in. I believe that when they redid the Touch 5s and updated them to Touch News, they basically tried to copy the Copic sketch look and feel. They do feel very similar in your hand. So if you have ever, touched a Copic sketch, then you'll have an idea what the Touch News will feel like. The Touch 5s also has this, I had forgot to mention, there is a slight gray here, none here. That just indicates your bullet versus your chisel. Here on the Touch News, that is wider. The gray's wider, so it's a lot easier to see. You have the broad nib, and then our chisel, and then you have your bullets. Okay. I have had less problems with these having the loose caps. I do believe that there was some improvement made when they went from the Touch 5 to the Touch News. I do. However, there still were a few loose lids. I did have 2 markers that had to be replaced for lack of ink, aside from the nasty fluorescents that we're not even going to talk about anymore. Just throw them away, trust me. So these are the Touch News. You have 47 grass green. It matches the Touch 5, 47 grass green. Okay, so let's just kind of look at the ink in this one. This is the Touch New. This is also grass green. Okay. And then you have your... Are you seeing an issue here yet? I mean, we'll let this dry for just a second, but are you seeing the issue here yet? The Touch New is a tiny bit darker. It is drying out a lot closer, though, so we'll see after just a few minutes if it's a perfect dead-on match. So you have your Touch 5s, your Touch News. The Touch News do seem to run a few dollars more than the Touch 5s. If I had to choose, if there was only 2 sets I could choose from, and I had to choose Touch 5 or Touch New, I would choose the Touch New. That's my opinion on those. I do believe that the upgrades were headed in the right direction, and I hope that they will continue to improve the product, because that is a wonderful array of color and an affordable price for, that many markers. And I would just like to see the quality improve, because I think that they would have a superior product if they could get the quality right. Now, I want to try to keep my grass greens together right up front, since we're going to look at those, more so than the others. So let me just move these around just a tad. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Next, we're going to look at the Artify marker. Okay, this is Artify. It has your 47 grass green, and a lot of your markers do use the same numbering system. All right. It has like indentations on the cap. It is sort of like triangular, but there aren't sharp edges. It's very smooth, but it is a triangular shape. So it's not going to roll as easily. It will roll, but not as easily. It comes with the medium broad nib or your chisel. And then it comes with what they call a medium fine, which is your bullet. And they snap on great. I have not had any problems whatsoever with either one of any of my markers not having a good seal. All the markers arrived in great condition. All worked perfectly. I have had no issues, excuse me, with the markers at all. Okay, you have your gray here again that indicates your fine nib. Let's take a look at the Artify swatches. And I do believe I have the largest set of each of the markers, so I'm giving you just an overview, but keep in mind that mine are the largest sets. They probably come in different sizes. Okay, these are the Artify swatches. Okay, it's 80 markers. You have a few yellows, a few reds to choose from. You have some pinks. You have a few purples. You do have a good amount of greens, a few browns, lots of grays, okay? I mean, you have your blue grays, your green grays, your cool grays, your warm grays. And it also comes with a colorless blender. And if I'm not mistaken, the colorless blender is a brush nib. I do believe it's the Artify. It is either the Artify or the Shuttle Art, but one of those two's colorless blender is a brush. Okay, and the Touch News and the Touch 5 also both come with colorless blenders. I'm sorry for not mentioning that. Okay, so let's take a look at the Artify ink. And I will zoom in real good so you guys can see these like up close when we're done. I just want you guys to be able to see the swatches when I show the colors, because I think that's important. Okay, and this is a 47 grass green, just like the Touches. Now, look at that. There is definitely a difference. These did dry pretty close to each other. This is much darker. So if you had the Touch 5s and you added this Artify, you would actually be adding another green. So you kind of see how that works. Okay, let's see. I want to stay in. And I think that also, these are very good nibs. They're very strong nibs. They're very tough. I think that these will hold up well. If you were to get the Artifice, and there's several others in here also, and I'll try to remember to make mention on each one. I think when this marker runs out, you would not have any problem in the world getting a alcohol ink from some source, whether it be Chameleon, Caliart, Copic, Blick, any of those, and adding ink to refill these markers. So, you know, I think you would be able to get several refills before these nibs began to wear down. With the Touch ones, I believe the nibs would wear it out way too fast to ever think about refilling on your own. But with the Artifice, I think you would be doing well on refilling those. Next, we have the Bienyo's. And the Bienyo is a marker that when we get to the Caliarts, you will see is identical. Here we go. This is a Caliart. They have the same numbers. These are wore off a bit. They have the same numbers. These numbers do wear off quickly. If you hold the tops like in your hands or anything like this, the numbers do start to wear off very quickly. I believe this comes in a 72 set. I'm not discussing, like prices or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Check your prices and figure out, what the best deal is. But I wanted you to see just the markers, what I think are the pros, what I think are the cons, and go from there. This is the Bienyo swatches. Again, thank you, Jennifer Stay. So as you see in the 72, there are some gaps in your colors, but there are still some very nice colors. And as far as I can tell, they almost match Caliart colors perfectly. So in my opinion, when it comes to the Biennyos, I would weigh out the price of Bienyo beside Caliart and see which way would be the best way to go based simply off price. Okay, so you have your Bienyo, and this is also a grass green. Okay, and you have, of course, here it's black instead of gray. It indicates which end is the fine point ends. And on these, you get a number on the top. This is G515, which is your, there, I think you guys can see that now. It's blurry. That's your 515. Now, if you want to see the actual name, you have to look back here on this barcode. Not sure why there's barcodes since you can't buy individual replacements, but there's barcodes. And it has G515 grass green. So that's where you actually see the name. It's not on this end of the marker. Okay. And as far as I know, all of these markers still work well. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh, I hate that sound. Okay, and a good snap. It's important. All right, so these are the Biennyos. And you see our Artifice still very dark. The Bienyo is going to be a tiny bit different, as you see from that Touch 5. It's a little brighter, but they're still grass greens. So they're different. Excuse me. Okay, these are the Caliarts. Again, it's G515. On the back, you have your barcode, which says it's grass green G515. The black to mark the fine nib from the chisel tip. Here's the chisel. And your bullet. I was very disappointed with Caliarts, as I have heard others were, over the Christmas season, the way they jacked up their prices. And yeah, that was just a bad call on their part. My daughter-in-law had wanted some alcohol-based markers for Christmas, and Caliart missed a sale, because I've told you guys several times, I think Caliarts are great markers, and I do. But that's not the marker she got for Christmas, because I was not about to entertain Caliart and their 50, I think it got up to like $59.99 or something like that for a set. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Let's lay this down. This is our grass green and Caliart. We're going to have to let this dry for just a minute to see if it's going to match with the Bienyo just perfect. I believe it will, because I do, from what I've seen, I believe they are identical markers. Alrighty then. Moving right along is our Ohuhu. The Ohuhu marker does not have a color name at all on the marker. It has just a number, and it's going to be very hard for you guys to see it on here, but it is 47, which matches with the other like Artifice and Touch News colors for grass green. That's how I know it's supposed to be grass green. But these are the Ohuhu markers. They are an oval shape. They are the slimmest of these with the exception of the ciao. So, very sleek feel in your hand. They do have the chisel nib. They seem to have a good snap on both of these. Well, come on now. Okay, and I don't mind a marker being a little hard to open if I'm getting that snap, because I know that's a good closed marker. Okay. You have the gray that's going to tell you the difference between the fine and the chisel. And let's take a look at that ink. And this is our Ohuhu. Ohuhu. And this is grass green. Looks like my Chameleon liner, maybe about to say done. Okay. Your chisel. And your fine nib. And those are your Ohuhus. Your Ohuhus. Oh, I didn't show you the Caliart swatches. So sorry. I will in just a second. These are the Ohuhu swatches. Okay. What I like about the Ohuhu set is they do seem to have a lot of bright color choices. Caliart, their new set that they just came out with, does not have as many bright. They're more dark. They have more skin tones and grays. And I was not very impressed with the newest set of Caliarts that came out. I liked my old set of Caliarts much better. But these are the Ohuhus. And lo and behold, it comes with fluorescence. And I believe they are truly alcohol-based fluorescents. If they are not, they are very good water-based markers and work wonderfully. No peeling of the paper, no issues like with the others. So you actually get to keep the fluorescent yellow, red, orange, pink that you get with the set, and they work. You don't have a lot of grays in the Ohuhus. You have your blue grays, a couple cool grays, one green gray, and 4 warm grays. So you don't get an overload of grays, but you get all these beautiful colors. So if I wanted a set, and I believe the Ohuhu are 80 markers. So if I wanted a set of markers, and you don't get a whole lot of browns either. You do get a few though. So if I wanted a good set of markers where I was going to get a lot of bright colors, then Ohuhu is a wonderful set. They are nicely priced. So that is what I like about the Ohuhus. And my biggest complaint with the Ohuhus is not having a color name. I think their old ones did. Okay, and back to the Caliart. This was my original set of Caliarts. The swatch for the original Caliarts. This is the set that I liked best. This is the set that I fell in love with. This is the new swatch. They added a lot more skin tones. They took away a green or two, and they added maybe an extra gray or something, but there's not a whole lot of grays even in this set. But those are your Caliart swatches. This is the new set that I got just recently. And this is my older sets. So those are the colors that you should expect. And if you kind of look at the Caliarts beside the Ohuhus, maybe you can see what I mean. I think these colors have more pop, pop, pop than some of the Caliarts. And that's why I have so many different marker sets. Truly. Okay, so now let's look at, and I'm not going to touch on these very long. This is more just for color comparison on this marker. These are the Spectrum Noir Basics. I've not been able to find these again. I think these are more of a basic craft line that Spectrum Noir had. They may have been discontinued. I picked these up at Tuesday morning for a 24 set that were $19.99. They had 5 sets available. It just has a name, not a number, and it says grass. That's all it says. It had the chisel, or the fine nib, and it had your chisel nib. And let me go ahead and we'll just lay this color out. I'll show you the colors that were available, just in case you want to try to look for these sets. This is what I got out of those 5 sets of Spectrum Noir Basics. Okay. Some beautiful colors, especially their pastels. I love this set of markers, but I don't know if you guys would be able to find them. You might want to look around, do some searches. Maybe you can. Okay, and these are the Spectrum Noirs, and this is the grass green in the Spectrum Noir. And chisel. And fine tip. Alright, and I do think these tips are fairly good. I'll see over time. I'm pretty new to these. I don't know about, I can't say, sure, we can refill them yet. I do believe that the Bienyo's and the Caliarts would be easily refilled. Great nibs. The Ohuhu, I have not had any problems with, but I have heard some people have had nibs go soft. But, I haven't experienced that yet, so I think those may be easily refilled also. And I do believe, and I'm sorry I'm skipping around, I don't believe the Ohuhus have as much ink in them as some of our other markers. So keep that in mind too. I could be wrong, but I don't think they have as much ink. Alright, and that's our Spectrum Noirs. Then we move along to the Chameleons, and these are interesting little creatures. On the Chameleon markers, you have a tiny brush nib, and these will fray like crazy if you use them on bad paper. You have a bullet tip nib. And you ask, what is this craziness? This is actually a colorless blender in a chamber where you can touch these two and link them together and do blends and gradients and things. Chameleons also come with color tops with different colors, so you can mix 2 colors together, kind of like the tip-to-tip thing that I'm sure some of you have seen. I think that they're good markers. There's very nice colors in the Chameleons. They are a little expensive. Let me show you my Chameleon. And this is the full set of Chameleons. There is 50 in the Chameleons in the full set. These are the colors that are available. They have beautiful skin tones. If you, in my opinion, if you just buy the skin tone set, I think their skin tones are great. I keep my Chameleon skin tones beside me in my cart all the time, and I reach for them so often. I keep my Chameleon skin tones and my Caliart skin tones, but I am always reaching for the Chameleon skin tones. And they do have some dark skin tones added to them also. All of the NU00 all the way to NU4 are the nude tones. And then, that's skin. And then there's a couple browns mixed in. And yeah, they're nice skin tone sets, I think. So they are rather bulky. They are much longer than other markers, as you see. So they feel rather bulky in your hands. But I mean, they are what they are, right? But you do get the brush nib. These are refillable. The nibs are replaceable. So you can get Chameleon ink. You can get Chameleon nibs. Switch them out. I do not know if you can change out the nibs in the color tones. I would have to check on that. But I have seen either people will love or hate the Chameleons. I don't particularly care for them for their blending capability, personally. I think it's a little gimmicky. Touching two ends together will do the exact same thing, whether it be with another color or with a colorless blender. So if that's all you're wanting to do is get those blends, try touching your nibs together, alcohol markers to alcohol markers, never water to alcohol. That will mess your markers up. Alcohol to alcohol. It works with any alcohol marker, from your Copics to your Artifice, Shuttle Arts, Ohuhus, Caliarts, Bics, Sharpies, Amazon Basics. It will work with all of them, the tip to tip, to get your color blends. So in this, here is the brush, and this is grass green in the Chameleon. So you see there is a huge color difference here from the other colors that we have looked at. And I just really wanted to show you guys this so you would see, you see how this one is lighter than this one, and this one is lighter than this one's darker than this one. This one's a tad darker than this one, and this one's darker than all of these. And every one of these markers are grass greens. Okay, why? I think that's the last grass green, and then I have to move into what I had to make do with. Yep. Why do I tell you that? Because I want you to see that if you buy a set of Chameleons and you buy a set of Ohuhus, for the most part, you are not getting just 80 Ohuhus and then 50 Chameleons that mix in with the Ohuhus. Negative. You are getting 50 plus 80 markers. So you're getting a huge number of markers because almost all of these colors are at least slightly different. Even if the markers, now the exception to that is the Biennyos are pretty darn close to the Caliarts. But I see differences in these all the time. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, moving right along, we're going to look at Shuttle Art. This is not a grass green. This is a vivid green. So you really can't compare it to any of these. I did not have a grass green in my Shuttle Art. Okay, this is interesting. But I did in my Artify. What do you see about these? They look very similar, do they not? Very similar markers. This one has kind of indentations. This one has, they're kind of raised. They feel the same in your hands. It looks to me like the Artifice might be a tiny bit larger, but not by much. But the color differences are crazy. Even in the ones that are named the exact same thing throughout that entire set. These are your swatches for the Shuttle Art. It is 88 alcohol markers with a blender, I believe. But when you compare them to the Artifice, I'm looking. There is a lot of differences in the different ones. This is your vermilion. Let's see if I can pull you guys in. And I'm sorry, this is got some, hopefully you can see the difference. This vermilion's very red. This vermilion is almost very orange. They are both 14 vermilions. Is darker than the Shuttle Art geranium. This carmine is a little more pink, and this carmine's a little more red. This lavender is a very bright purple. This lavender is a very muted purple. Those type of differences are all the way through this entire set between the Artifice and the Shuttle Arts. I wanted to buy the Shuttle Arts for myself, and then I was looking at the Artifice. I had noticed that the Artifice had colors like it had the grass green, where the Shuttle Art did not. And that's why I initially said, okay, I'm getting both the Artify and the Shuttle Art set, because I felt like I was gaining 20 colors, I believe, 22 different colors that I was gaining by getting the Artify set out of those 80. when they came in and I swatched them all out and started comparing these sets side by side, I realized that, oh my goodness, they were almost two completely different sets of markers. So I was ending up with like almost 168 different colors. I would probably say 140 different colors at least by buying these two sets. So if you can find a really good deal on both the Shuttle Arts and the Artifice, the Artifice will fill in all the blanks in the Shuttle Arts. They complement each other well. The markers look well together. They look very close. And you're getting a large set that is much better quality than, say, those Touch 5s or Touch News, in my opinion. So that's why I did that. Now, in the Shuttle Arts and the Artifice, you do not have very many skin tones. This salmon pink is probably supposed to be a skin tone. I think it is way too orange, in my opinion. I would never put that on skin myself. Pastel peach is very peachy and orangey also, in my opinion. I guess there's this brown gray, but I think it's way too yellow. Pale pink is just way too pink. So you don't get much in the way of skin tones when you buy these sets. So if you wanted to maybe, and you do get several grays, so your grays you're pretty decent on. I think you get 3 or 4 of each one. No, you get Cool Gray 0.05, Cool Gray 1, Cool Gray 3, Cool Gray 5, Cool Gray 7, Cool Gray 9, and it does the same thing with warm grays. You get 2 fluorescents, and they are good markers. You got your blue grays in here. You don't have any green. Yeah, you do have one green gray. And then in your Artify, it adds a couple different grays also that's not in the Shuttle Art set. So if you were to have the money to get, say, the Shuttle Art 88, the Artify 80, and either like the skin tone Chameleons or the skin tone Caliarts, you would have a huge set of markers with all kinds of possibilities to work with. And that's why I'm always telling you guys when you ask that there's really not a good answer as to which set should I buy. It's all about preference. And these are our Shuttle Arts. And again, this is the vivid green, so it's definitely off. But we'll put it there. And then, you guys getting tired yet? I'm starting to confuse myself. I feel like I'm talking in circles. Then you have your vivid green firefly. I haven't been able to find these online, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. These actually come from Tuesday Morning also, is where I picked these sets up at. I found these long before I owned my Shuttle Arts or my Artifice. These markers I liked a lot. And when I was looking online at the Shuttle Arts, I noticed something and I was like, booyah, look at that. I have seen Anne from A Colorful Life use the Azures, and the Azures are either identical to these or they're identical to the Artify with the little indentions instead of outdentions. But yeah, a lot of times these markers I believe are made by, like these two, I believe they're made by the exact same company probably. And they are just marketed under different names. That's my opinion. But, you know, you have your fine nib. And I love that they're hard to get open. Because that tells me they are on there tight. I know it irritates some people, but when they're hard to open, I'm like, oh yeah, that's got a good seal. Hear that snap? And this is the firefly here. Oh, and this is the firefly here. And I don't know, next to this Shuttle Art, they're both supposed to be vivid green. The firefly may be a little different too. And the two vivid greens. We'll have to let this dry a little bit. Markers go on darker. Alcohol markers will appear much darker when you first put them on. After they sit and they dry for a second, then they start to look much better. So, okay, let me have a sip of my coffee. I'm on a roll here, guys. And These are the only ones I got at Tuesday morning in the Fireflies. They're very small sets. I think they're like 12 maybe in a set. And they had like some grays and some brown, like a gray and brown set. And then they had a red set. And yeah. So I grabbed those. And they were just going to be like extra markers. And I really liked them. So I have kept them. Okay. Moving right on along. And next, we're going to look at the Caliart marker. And the Caliart marker looks very similar to our Shuttle Arts and our Artifice and our Fireflies. Yes. It has the indentations like the Artifice, not the out little bubble thingies of the other Firefly and Shuttle Arts. But this one is just called Leaf Green. So it's not really something that we can compare color on. But with the Caliart markers, they come in 50. They come in a very nice hard case. A beautiful case. I kid you not. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. All of these markers come in like black zippered cases with the exception of the Chameleons, which comes in a hard cardboard box that opens up into like a stadium type stand, or a display stand. The Caliarts actually have individual slots. The other bags don't, so your markers are all inside. These all stand up, nice, freestanding, beautiful, 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 beautiful case. It has the gray that indicates our fine point from our chisel or broad nib. You have G9 leaf green written on the bottom. It's really hard to see on this one. Fine points and broad chisel. Here are my swatches for the 50 set of the Caliart markers. They've got some decents, but there's definitely some big gaps in color, as you can see. They do have some pretty purples, have pretty pinks, some nice greens here. Love them. Okay, now when it comes to the Caliarts, they seem to bleed like crazy for me on any of the cheaper papers. I mean, it like spreads bleeds. These are some very, very, very juicy markers. They do very well on Caliart paper, which makes me think they would do well on some very nice multimedia or marker type paper. But in books and things, I don't use them very frequently because of that spread bleeding. So these have not gotten a lot of love, and that's sad, but they haven't. And you may be able to see some of that feathering I'm talking about a little bit just on this. And this is cardstock. But they are very nice markers. But be aware, in my opinion, they do bleed. Superior packaging, great quality. They have, I don't think you can buy ink to refill, but they do sell the markers individually. So you could always get an additional marker as those begin to run out. So there's the Caliarts. And the last kind of marker I have is the Copic Ciao. I only have 6 of these. They're nice. You know, Copic has a lot of different inks to choose from. 350 something or 360 something different colors in the sketch. 200 maybe in the Ciao. Something like that. So, I mean, you could get the Ciaos, and of course you got the replaceable nibs. The nibs are the same on the sketches. Then if you wanted the whole set, you could get the rest in sketch. And of course the ink's the exact same to refill them, but there's no marks on the lids on the Ciaos. On the sketches, you actually, and this is just an empty, so it doesn't have it, but on the sketches, it'll have the information on the top. These are round. It has the super brush nib, and this is the same nib that you're going to find on your Copic sketch. And then it has a chisel nib, same nib you'll find on your sketch. And I mean, I guess I can write this one down. I really don't have much of a ciao is C-I-A-O. Okay. I really don't have enough experience with these to truly give a big opinion. I know people love them. I think the Copic brush nibs are a bit big, in my opinion. Where I have used them, I've kind of found them a little hard to color with. And it may be because I'm not used to them. I'm sure if I got some practice that I would probably fall in love with them also. But that's probably a good thing that I don't, because they are so expensive. But yes. So those are the brands of markers that I currently own. And those are my opinions on those markers. On Anne's video last night, I saw some Zongii, Z-O-O. I think this is right. I could be way off. No, this side's not wanting to work hardly at all. Z-O-O-G-I markers. Try that in Amazon. And if that doesn't come up, let me know and I'll try to look and find them. Anne thought that these might be water-based. I did research on these. They were not water-based. They are alcohol-based markers. However, taking a very close look at them, they are either like the Touch News or the Touch 5s. And I couldn't really tell. I think it's Touch 5 though. In my opinion, it's going to be like this. And someone in a comment had compared them to Touch Cools, which I think was the generation before the 5s, maybe. But they were extremely cheap. I mean, it was like 48 markers for $13. That is an amazing, amazing deal. And there was like a 45 count maybe for under $9. And these were alcohol-based markers. It's on Prime, so it's free shipping. And if you're just looking to mess around a little, even at crappy ink, that price is, or not crappy ink, but the ink's good on the Touch News and stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's some of the quality's a little iffy, but I mean, if you're kind of willing to know that they're just throwaway markers, not a big deal, use what you can get, and you just want to start with alcohol. You just want to test those alcohol markers for the first time to see if, hey, is this something I want to upgrade to these other sets before I go out and buy these huge big sets? I would recommend these markers. I've not tried them. I am thinking very seriously about buying a set just to lay my hands on them and test them out. But they are alcohol based. They should be like the Touch 5s at least. I think that it would be an amazing way for you guys to just get your feet wet and know that some of these other markers are higher quality. Test for under $9. See if markers is what you want to do, and then run with a more expensive set. So I'm going to try to find these markers when I upload this video. The only reason, let me see. Hold on, guys. I'm going to see if I can pull my laptop up. Okay, guys, here we go. They are Zongii. Z-O-N-G-I-I. Okay. And it is 48 color markers, dual tip, fine and broad. And if you see how they're square, I think it's going to be this. I think, but I could be wrong, okay? But I think that's what it's going to look like. But let's see. You've got vivid pink, pastel violet, azalea purple, vermilion, Prussian blue, forest green, light violet, yellow green, natural oak, sky blue, warm grays. You've got a lot of different colors here. I think it's a good yeah, I think this would be a great way for someone just to test if they're going to like these. For someone that's just wanting to test if they're going to like alcohol markers, I think this would be a great way to go. They are $13.49 on Prime right now. And if you look at there at the bottom, there's also another one that's listed. It says I draw at least 300 meters. This is 45 colors for $8.99. So 48 for $13.49 or 45 for $8.99. And what I did was I had red as much as I could. It looks like it's going to come in a case. Blendability, broad and fine tip, assorted colors. Okay, here it is. And I'm just trying to get you guys to in as much as you can. Here we go. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. Okay. Highly pigmented and advanced ink, dye-based ink for richly saturated colors to against fading. I think that should say resist. Alcohol-based ink. There it is. Alcohol-based ink. So, for any of you who have been on the border, you know, watching us color with our alcohol inks and wanting to know if this is something you wanted to try, but you didn't want to put a lot of money into it, I would highly recommend that you maybe pick up either the 48 or the 45, depending if you want to spend. I would just get the 45, I think, honestly, because just to test them out, because you're getting 3 extra markers and paying $4.50 more. Yeah. Yeah, if you just want, I mean, it's really up to you what you want to spend as far as that. But for under $14, either way you look at it, under $10 or under $14, you can test alcohol markers for the first time and see if that's something you want to work with. These are alcohol-based ink, and I think that this is just the best way to go because, you know, this is cheaper than Sharpie. And, you know, Sharpie gives you an idea, but I'm telling you, I used to color with all Sharpies and Bics, and when you move to, you know, these type of markers, it's a different experience. So yeah, I'm going to leave links down below to the 45 as well as the 48 color of these Zongiis. And I would highly recommend anybody who's been on the fence to go ahead and pick these up and take a look at them and see what you think. I mean, you're getting a nice storage case. Yeah, I think that's a good deal. I think it's an amazing deal. And I think I'm going to pick some of these up just to take a quick look at them. I'll probably maybe grab this $8.99 set for no other reason than just to, I mean, I really don't want to buy both. Part of me wants to buy both sets to compare them because as you see, it looks like the 45 set, the barrels are white. And then on the $13.49 48 piece set, the barrels are black. Yeah. I always want to try everything. Yeah. There'll be links down below. There'll be links down below to these as well as to the other marker sets that I have mentioned. And if you guys have any questions about what we've talked about today, if you leave them in the comments down below, I will keep a check on these comments. And if I need, I'll of course answer you. And if I need to make another video to address some of the questions, then I will try to do that video tomorrow and get it up for you guys to answer any of the questions that you may have. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that it was in some way helpful and informative for you. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you will subscribe. Excuse me. We would love to have you here. And guys, until next time, peace, love, and happy coloring. Bye guys. Have a great afternoon.